how to articulate and stand up for who you are. You've always possibly had other people dictating to you who you are and who you should be or should not be. Um,
I'm fine. Everything's fine. Hey guys, it's Jody Saunders, and welcome back. This is Kitty Cat or Professor McGonagall. Thank you for being here today. Okay. So today I was going to tell you about this dream interpretation that I had done. So if you don't know, like I deal with depression and anxiety, of course. But so recently I had quit my job, and so without knowing, like I thought I was fine. Like I had like the best feeling, blah blah blah. Like I was chill, and I woke up like a couple days later, and like from this weird dream, and like instantly had like a panic attack. And like normally, like when I get panic attacks, it's like I can feel it coming on, or it's like in the middle of the day or at night or something like that. So it was so weird to like wake up and like immediately go into it. And it sucked. So I was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. Had this crazy dream, recorded it like a voice memo, like just to like get it out because I thought it was just like so weird, and some of the things that popped up were like, I was like, that means something for sure. Like, anyway, so the next day, the same thing happened again. It was a different dream, but I woke up, had a panic attack. And then later that day, I had a second panic attack, which that never happens. So I was like, okay, something's going on. I thought it was fine, but I guess it wasn't. So I was looking into getting someone to like interpret this dream, because like not only did like I have 3 panic attacks in 2 days, but like I just felt like it just meant something, and like I wanted to look further into it. So I thought I would share with you. I started listening to it, and then I was like, this is way too crazy. I've never met this lady. She's calling me out on all my shit. Like, it's so crazy. So I thought I would share with you, and while we listen to what she thinks, I'm going to eat these chicken tacos that I made with these Taco Bell double-decker shells while we drink. And if something gets too intense or like she's too spot on, I'm gonna take a shot of vodka. So have it all. You ready? You ready? I'm like, can you just be a part of this, like for once? Okay.
Hi, Jody. This is Gina, and I am here to give you your dream interpretation. First of all, thank you for taking the time and using technology to send your reading in a format so that I could listen to it. It was quite extensive and a lot to write and type out, even though I did transcribe it so that I had a little bit, I used a little bit more extra time because of the transcribing it and getting all of the details. So it's an extremely fascinating and detailed dream. So it's amazing you remembered all that. Some people actually don't. Okay, with that said, I'm going to do a kind of rundown of the dream to the best of my ability as I heard it unfold, and to kind of point out what a lot of those things are talking about. So you start out saying that you were basically taking care of animals was the first thing I heard. And so that immediately represents your capacity to be a caretaker, right? You may be naturally given responsibilities, or you may take on the role of, putting others before yourself.
If you don't know, my life mission is to save the world and save all the animals and save the environment. So, you know.
Um, many people are comfortable with, very comfortable with animals rather than people. So it speaks to you having a level of understanding natural tendencies, natural instincts. Then you go into saying that you're in an unknown.
Also, just to warn you, it's kind of long, and I know like you guys hate long videos, but it's like so worth it. Like I got 2 minutes in and couldn't handle it because it was so like on point. So it is worth it, I swear.
Place. Whenever this typically occurs in a dream setting, an unknown place speaks to being unfamiliar with aspects of yourself. And just to make note from a very deep psychological process, which is what dreams really are all about. For the most part, dreams, everything in the dream is really us. It's really you. It's just a different aspect of yourself that you may not recognize, right? So every part is you. Now, for the um, other side of dreaming is depending on your abilities, your gifts. Some dreams are prophetic. So, um, and it's about what's happening to you. And sometimes dreams make it, the imagery in dreams make things easier to digest. Okay. So then you jump into talking about the buffalo. And so the sense of this buffalo gave you great anxiety. It was very intimidating. And so the buffalo itself, being such a large animal, uh, many of us don't come into to face with every day, right? So it it speaks to some very significant occurrence and or person in your life. And this person, with buffaloes, that seems to the tendency there because of the horns, there's a tendency for this to represent some sort of maleness, masculinity, right? Our sense of virility, the sense of power. And in this buffalo overwhelmed you, right? And so it speaks to what your wild desires are, right? But when what your passions are. So, in a sense, if it doesn't represent a specific person that has been problematic for you, it is about your own lack of paying attention to your own passions and desires, and not knowing how to confront or deal with that aspect of yourself. It may be very scary. You may be pushed to boundaries of saying you're not going to move or stay in a role of just being the bypass, this the standard buyer. Your instincts are to really step out beyond and take back your power. And so you this very powerful energy that you have, it may be something where either a person you feel is taking advantage of you, or you don't want to be overwhelmed or overcome with your own potential. So sometimes a buffalo, even though we don't, everybody says, what a bull would do, and you saw bullfighting. Buffaloes, you don't tend to really see that, but by the same token, a buffalo can represent a very powerful urge and or enemy that's trying to take advantage. And through this, whatever this buffalo is representative of, you're tired of it. And
I just have to say that I have not told her any other information except for exactly what happened in the dream and my first name. Like, that's it. She doesn't know anything about me. And she's already, like, spot on.
and in the past, you're reviewing how helpless, right, or victimized you may have felt by this buffalo, right? And so the anxiety that's there says too, you're dealing with past mistakes, right? You may have some guilt, and you may absolutely feel that you've been wronged in some sort of way. So the terror and distress uh, that's there is about facing problems, right, in real life. And to the point where this terror, there's an emergency. There's this also, though, when you were like, it was sniffing me, it's an intimidation. Animals tend to do this sort of thing. When a dog sniffs you, it's about something in the scent of something tells you whether or not it's safe or it's dangerous. It's just a part of fight or flight, right? So this buffalo is sniffing you. And there's an aspect when you said you were like trying to hide. It's like seeking you out. You're trying to hide. It's playing with you, right? And so that trying to hide is about pushing down the fear, not wanting to be seen, ignoring the truth, and fleeing from your own instincts and urges. So, you were saying it was sniffling, it was trying to hump you, attempting to maul or harm you. This is all domination tactics. So, again, the the way when I think of animals that are attempting to do that, trying to hump and that it's strictly a way of showing dominance. So something or someone has possibly exhibited that to you, right? And it's like it's a power struggle. So your fallback was to play dead, right? And this is about dismissing whatever your fears or concerns are, and it's about just simply ignoring the problem, not answering the call to live. And it's kind of like your natural survival instinct is to kind of lay low, right? So when there's problems, or in the past, that is the path you've taken, is just to kind of like um, be whatever and say, I'm just going to lay low. So to play dead means that you've decided to pretty much sit this one out, right? And that may be because it's a survival tactic. Um, the places you on top of the stomach, claiming you, new toy, new pet. That speaks to me. Kind of like the writing. So let's just say, for lack of better words, this is about desire. It's about sexual urges, right? And it's about feeling wanted, needed, but not being taken seriously. So, and for an aspect of your life you may be dealing with is that you don't want to be taken for granted, right? And it's for instance, if I'm picking this up right, let's just say wanting to move into a more serious partnership may be a thing. You don't want to be played with, right? So then you get into this baby deer, right? The baby deer runs away. This is about an opportunity to escape due to this distraction. This is about being very cautious, and this is also about what it feels like to be a victim or a potential victim. So you may be dealing around some issues with victimhood. Um, the deer also represents your own personal freedom, uh, and it represents shifting perspectives. I mean, deer, uh, seem to appear out of nowhere, they disappear, they're fleeting. So those are about your shifting perspectives. It was there, suddenly it wasn't there. But most importantly, it represents, if it was a baby deer, that baby is newness. It represents an opportunity to grow. So something that presents itself that's very new, but if you don't act on it, right, it goes away very quickly.
I just got this new opportunity to volunteer at this ideal place, and I'm basically trying to decide like if I'm gonna go do it because that's exactly what I'm gonna do, and like barely get paid, or to not do it at all.
Um, so you had some running, some escape. This is about fleeing, avoiding dangerous situations. And it also speaks to that, you may have had experiences where you want to help others out of their situations, or again, as caretaker, you're taking care of others when that has your kindness in that has been absolutely taken for granted, and the help that you have given others has caused you, um, really it has backfired. So you are, in an office building, and this running into, I think, you said this is about dealing with very intense situations, and office buildings represent, some sort of formal setting, sometimes often related to your ideas about professionalism, work, career, and things that are official, you know. And so this is, in an office building you have a lot of different things going on, so it represents an aspect of a very hectic life. um, and so then you say people were asking what's going on. You then say, you see this lady, and you say, "Oh yeah, there's this giant kangaroo." Um, and so for a moment, you recognize this lady as an ex coworker, but it seems like there was some association with some sort of um, um, mother figure. Um, and so the fact that you said you didn't describe it as a buffalo, you described it as a kangaroo, um, says that in a situation you may be going through, you don't want to describe something as the real thing. You don't want to rat it out, right? You do not wish to describe it because it's too ridiculous or scary, so you made it even more ridiculous. Or you may have fears that people think you're being ridiculous, being afraid of a buffalo. Or you don't you don't want to speak out against the real enemy, or you don't want to be the whistleblower, so it's an incorrect descriptions. A lot of fear of this buffalo returning, right? There's
Oh, I'm gonna
um,
cry.
this
Not.
stress, and it is
I'm gonna cry.
about, um, let's just say you had a problem kind of disappear, or a person kind of disappear, but it gives you a lot of anxiety thinking about them coming back, or that old problem returning and rearing its ugly head. In the dream, I would say you had something that you hadn't fully processed, and it's in your downtime, in your sleep, in the subconscious, it's churning.
So I think this is talking about like how I quit or whatever, and like I felt the need to explain to higher management what happened, and I definitely this is definitely just true, like just true, like
Um, the kangaroo, are interestingly enough, refers to, because we think about kangaroos, the baby kangaroo in the pouch, and so this refers to nurturing, parenting, motherhood issues, and connectivity, and how close of a relationship that was possibly nurtured, and the relationship you've had with your own mother. You may transfer that relationship to other women that come into your life. So it gets chaotic, everybody's terrified and freaked out. And then you mentioned about being caretaker of animals again, and these are aquatic creatures, and you describe them, and they're miniature. So what that represents, and water is like the subconscious, right? The unconscious collective, and it represents yours. So all these little different small creatures, all have their different sets of potential, and different sets of instincts, different sets of dangers, right? And so aquatic creatures are your impulses. So sometimes you can be a squid, octopus. Sometimes you can be a jellyfish. Sometimes it's interesting that you then say there's this lizard. So like for instance, the jellyfish is, you remember how painful something could be, or how you yourself can put a sting out. You can be either one of those. The lizard represents also, these are about built-in responses, how you do fight or flight. A lizard, we talk about the reptilian brain, so this is about how you respond to anything. um, a lizard can also be referenced to a snake. So when you're looking at a reptilian, you can either say there's something secretive going on about there, or you're harboring a secret hostility, or there's some resentment. Now, you mentioned this badger, which I wouldn't have associated a badger with an aquatic creature, but badger in itself, we have the word badger, and that refers to feeling badgered, feeling overwhelmed, feeling greatly influenced by others' behaviors. Um, and so the badger gets disruptive, right? Badgers have gotten a bad rap as being very destructive and just creatures. And you said it's going crazy. Well, this is about the negative influences, and it's attempting to destroy surroundings, not necessarily you, but the surroundings that it's in. It's being destructive and going crazy. Well, that speaks to, you may have personified someone that has negatively impacted you as just a badger. They're like nah, 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 nah. And just they just their attitude is negative. Nobody wants to be around them, and then when they don't get the attention they deserve, they just start to pull stuff down. um so it bothers you, I think, when things are chaotic and people don't follow the rules. um so I think in the dream, you yourself um are very empathic, and I think it represents that you're struggling to look at and really identify who you are and what your potential is, right? um the other thing is, in spite of the badger's disruptive behavior, you had to take care of it. You described it as, I was trying to take care of it anyway. So it just speaks to, you may have a conditioning that says, you are the one that are supposed to take care of it all. You can't get to act out. You have to be responsible. um so you say there's a trying to escape, and then it was time to leave. And the building was deserted except for three people. And I assume these are three women, because you say you, your mother, and your cousin. Not sure if the cousin was male or female. But that number three represents you, three different aspects of you, right? um, it shows who you are in past, present, future. It represents parts of yourself that you may not know about. It may speak to your own capacity and desire to mother or parent, right? But also be, this other kind of, when you think of a cousin, it's like, yeah, cousins typically could be like siblings, but they're kind of like the cool aspect. So cousins can either be um, uh, in support of us, or they can be our enemy. So um, this three, this grouping that you put, this represents a desire for you to integrate different aspects of yourself, right? And so it also represents that you want to be recognized for the work that you do.
I love her nails, by the way.
um
But
you said the building was dark except for a few lights. Well, this is about, half of you is dark and the other one has a little bit of awareness, right? So you don't fully have the light that you need to see all. Um, and you said you were very particular about how we leave, and this is about following rules. Again, you want to avoid danger, so you're like, I'm trying to cut off any problems, so you got to follow specific rules and procedures. And you had to go out a certain exit. Well, this is about finding a way out. all leaving the same way. Again, rules, procedures, following procedures. Again, I'm going to go back to, I think it bothers you when people just don't do things in the most logical way. Um, you had a lot about doors and windows, and in terms of that, doors and windows, right? These are symbols. uh, it talks, doors and windows always represent how we view things and how we enter and exit. So it's all about being transformed in some way. So different levels of transformation, change in your life, having to put on and try on different views. And overall, I would say you're looking at going through all these different portals, right? This is about new levels that are new experiences. You're at a point in your life where there's change all around you, and so you're trying these different perspectives out, just trying them on for size, so to speak. And a lot of them, when you step through, you're in unfamiliar world to you. But it's interesting that the people that are in these, when you step through these doors, they very much know you, right?
So this is like the weird part of the dream, the other significant part of the dream that, well, I thought it was significant. So like I thought we had to go through this certain door, but they wanted to go this other path. But like I was like, we can go over here, but we need to come back and exit through here. So when we went through these other doors, like I opened it and it was like a different reality, like an alternate reality. It was like I opened the door and these people, there's like a group of people. They knew me. I didn't know them. The first one was like a different time period as well. And so the second and third one, it was like this time period, but I just did not know these people. But they definitely knew me. I was like, this is so weird. It's like an alternate reality. Like it was crazy. It was three different ones too. So
But you're like, they're strangers to me. Those are all aspects of you, right? And unfamiliar parts of yourself that you're exploring. You're trying to get an understanding. You may be trying to get an understanding of other people's behaviors right now. We call, that push down hidden parts of self the shadow. And so you may have been conditioned very much to push down your shadow, self, which isn't negative stuff. It's just, you are looked upon to not exhibit a certain thing. But it may be your own creativity. It may be your capacity to speak up for others. But instead, stuff like that gets pushed down. You mentioned the purse being a marker. Well, it's interesting because purse, the purse
again, like when I said we have to go through this certain way, so when I was like, we can go this way, but we have to go back this way, I put my purse as a marker to say we have to go through this way.
purse is everything that you own and hold sacred. When we carry our purses, what do we carry? Everything that identifies us, so identification, the capacity to spend, right? And that gives us passage from one place to the other with these things. So the purse, interestingly enough, is, and for a woman, it's that purse is representative of the sexual organ, right? So how opened or closed or how weaponized that becomes. And so the purse may represent just your own credibility and your own morality. You put it there to mark a passage, like, this is my identity through this door, to remember. So um it became a way shore. And so the purse represents your own femininity. Okay. um and you came back for it. It's like you put something down that was very important to you in many, many ways, and you came back to retrieve it. So this is about finding yourself, trying on something new, going in a different direction, but you're always going to go back to the thing that makes you feel safe and identified. You said there were different people, no longer family, right? And so unfamiliar strangers. Again, the different people are all aspects of you. And this is about when you're having a lot of dreams with strangers. I see that as you're encountering people. You may be encountering people, or you also do not know exactly how to articulate and stand up for who you are. You've always possibly had other people dictating to you who you are and who you should be or should not be. Um,
Whoa. Oh, whoa.
So this is about how you're, going through all these portals. You keep changing direction. You keep changing direction, and unfamiliar, confusing is all it's leading to. So you got an aspect of, I didn't quite hear the thing with the cabinet, but the cabinet itself is about, think about um, a piece of furniture, especially if it's passed down. Furniture identify identifies our traditions, and it's about beliefs or developments that's been handed down over and over again. A piece of furniture may be passed on, depending on how well it means. So you'd have to look at what cabinets. I'd have to get more detail around the cabinet. And it seems like you got trapped in this cabinet, but I'll go back to that in a minute. It was interesting that you had a change of location, right? Again, changing perspectives. You got this warning from this woman, right? And you were debating whether this was a mother or not, but I'll just call it a mother figure. But to me, that's someone you want to respect. However, they said, oh, be careful. They gave you this warning in falling. In the falling and the drop, right? That talks about letting go of attachments. Like you're being asked to blindly trust someone because of their position or their seemingly level of authority. And so, the drop or the falling is also about letting go, losing control. There's an element of trust there. They're like blindly trust. So this advice was unwarranted. Um, and then the drop, which is about you're going down, deepest feeling, go deep. It's saying, um, and it may represent your past experience with someone who gave you bad advice or someone you couldn't trust, right? And so the alternate reality that it led to you, and you said, oh, well, I was falling, and I'm taking, you're like, it wasn't really a drop. And again, it was like you didn't have your own instincts to trust in that. You were going on what somebody said. But anyway, you drop down into another alternate reality, which is just about a new phase and a new experience, right? Uncharted territory. And then you said, there are people who knew you, right? Again, that's parts of yourself that but you're not recognizing that. And sometimes that also speaks to what you know, or people who know you. Who would know you? Your family, your friends, your coworkers, but you're not recognizing aspects of them. Um, and so um, it's about, if they're strangers, right? Any strangers, they're strangers to you, which means in some way other people getting too close, it makes you uncomfortable not to have a familiarity. And so that becomes like a threat to your own self-awareness. um, then you mentioned something about different time periods, lots of people, huge room. The huge room is all about the potential that you carry, or the potential that you think the world has, but you may not be living to that potential. It's bouncing around different time periods, different dress. All of that is about memories. And so sometimes it gets tied to, in dreams, things that we watch. If you're watching a movie, or it just kind of flits into that, and that's just about trying on different aspects. So it says to me, with all of this, you're going through a lot of changes. um, and it's due to where we are now. A lot of people are having interesting dreams, but this is like shifting perspective and changes. You said something about your grandfather. The grandfather, depending on what he was in your life, but it sounds like um, he was symbolic of being a disciplinarian, and and a protector at the same time, and attempting to help. I mean, attempting to give you some guidance. So
My grandpa
that could
can,
actually
Riley.
be just a protector guide in your dream. You also mentioned, I believe, Travis Barker. And let's just say, seems like that's somebody that's famous. I didn't even look it up. But when you pull in a celebrity or a well known figure in your dream, again, that's about your desires for your own recognition, desires to be noticed. It represents how your romantic ideals, uh, your ideals about love, but it also represents relaxation. A person that makes you feel comfortable and safe is about you are, past being able to pacify your own anxiety. Um, and you said something about the grandfather's making an example of you, and that made you uncomfortable. So that's about a level of respect or disrespect. And so you were trapped in this cabinet again. You can let me know around this, but that being stuck or trapped really is about confronting your own fears. You were asked to write something, and when you're writing or journaling, it is really about seeking clarity. You have to take a moment to look at the past, right? It gives you that moment of shutting down to think and to allow. And so you get reminded of past experience, and so you're seeking clarity, and you immediately reverted to how you loved your mother more than anything. um and so that gave you a chance to really say, okay, again, the mother figure is very, very, very prominent here. um it's interesting because going back to the buffalo uh could also be seen as this dominant uh, uh figure, which is about mother. So then you're with this person, right? There's a person all of a sudden you realization, a person in the room, uh, and there's a lot of insults, criticism there. So this is about conflict, right? Being in conflict with someone, and it speaks to a lot of resentment, feeling heavily criticized, unjustly criticized, and so that person represents the enemy, either the enemy within or without. You referenced something about why you with these two gangs. Um, that's two opposing sides, right? So you've got the perspective. Then you get the backing of the group, which is about an agreement with what you're saying, which was about you can't. Who are you to do all these criticisms, right? Then you get in this vehicle and it's fast moving. The
The
vehicle
vehicle.
represents
I'm fine. Everything's fine. I can do this.
how you're traveling in life. And you weren't driving. No, you weren't driving, and you were in the car with a group of people, and specifically someone that you did not want to be in the car with. And I'm going to tell you right now, it says if you're with someone that is super negative, super critical, you need to get out of the car with them, right? Meaning that you need to cut off that relationship and stop traveling with them, because they're not who you're supposed to be with in any means. So the car is about your life journey, right? And then it turns into some animation, which means when things become kind of cartoonesque, it means that it help your brain may be looking at it to not take it too seriously. And then you got
See, I don't even remember this part of the dream anymore. Like, I'm so glad, like, I record, like, voice memoed my dream and sent it before, like, I forgot it.
this water situation. Well, the water, that's your deep unconscious. It's about, oh, you're really afraid we're going to get too close to it. And then it shifts into the thing about the Walmart. and knowing that you're going to be in lockdown, and some going for supplies. And the Walmart represents variety. The Walmart represents things that you know you can go and readily get. You can find what you need for supplies. That's, think of that. Let's just say the Walmart is you. You know, you can go within and supply yourself with everything you need, right? But it also says, you know, the lockdown. A lot of people are dealing with this present lockdown situation and feeling like, am I going to have enough? Um, and so once you find your supplies, though, you know, the dream kind of subsides, because you know, oh, I'm going to be okay. I just need to find supplies and I'll be good. So in essence, overall, the dream really is about confronting your past, confronting family issues, and understanding that you are um, in a period of change. And this is about your life change. This doesn't have to do with the world. It has to do with uh, how you're changing and growing, right? And it also very, very much speaks to, you know, your own level of growth, and not needing any validation from outside, and really dealing with feeling specifically victimized by anyone or anything. All right, I'm going to pull some cards just to see what else I can know about this. And so I get the
Sorry, I had to change the battery real quick. Again, if you gotten this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, but also thank you for watching me and my struggle with life.
know about this. And so I get the it's so funny. I get the aesthetic, right? I get, interestingly enough, the Three of Cups with three women, right? And then I get the Nine of Cups. And so what this tells me is that you've been doing this aesthetic. It is absolutely about changing of perspectives, dipping into the water, right? This is about changing your perspectives. And what you have probably felt recently is being really, really stuck, and where you want to go in life, and probably romantically, career wise, you know, emotionally, you can't go up, you can't go down, you can't go side. The only thing you can do is look at the past and know and learn from your past, and that's going to help you decide where you want to go. So this is about reviewing and going deeper into yourself, being in touch with who you are,
I
right?
don't want
The other
to. Get
card, the
mad
Three
in
of
here.
Cups, is about gatherings, family, wanting to be close to family, right? Remembering that family is important, the respect that families should have, all about that, getting together, celebrating. But it's also about getting the validation from family. And so this is about love and support, um, and missing an aspect of being together with, you know, your female family members. Then you have the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups is about things that you want, your desires, your wishes are coming into place. They're not quite realized yet, and there's an old saying, be careful what you wish for, you may get it. And so, what this is asking you to do is review and actually define what your level and idea of success is, and what you're going to be comfortable with, and what you can accept about where your life is heading, and formulating what the idea of success is going to be for you. And no matter how big or overwhelming it seems, right? It brings up some fears. It could be that you may be looking at your own level of fear of success. And so you may have to unload some negative programming in order to figure out who you really are and what you really want in
God damn it. So that's it. She did amazing, obviously. She made me cry. Can you just um So I would highly encourage you, if you don't already look up your dreams or like certain ass, like big ass, not big ass, things that stick out to you the most, or animals that appear in your dreams, like if you don't already look those up, like you can literally look up, Google, dream about swimming with whales. That happens to me all the time. And I do it all, like I have to re-Google it because like it's like different situations. But this dream was obviously so much to unload that I had to have somebody else like tell me like what happened, like what that means. So I would highly encourage you, like if you don't already look up your dreams, start looking them up, start writing them down, or like voice memo. And 100%, this is my first time using her. I want to be her best friend. Like 100% would love to be her best friend. You can find her at my link in the description, and you can also follow her in her social media. She's amazing. Her name, you can look her up on her social media platforms, or you can look her up at tarotadvisor.com. I literally looked up, I googled, I was like dream interpreter Dallas, and she's here. Like I want to be her friend. So like from now on, if I like have a crazy dream, definitely 100% going to go to her. She is amazing, and I love her. I haven't even met her, and I'm like, oh my god, I love you. But this like definitely gives me a lot to think about, like a lot. Like I already knew most of this, but it's just crazy to me that like she got every single thing that I'm going through my freaking dream. Like how? Like everything is like so spot on. She called me out so many times. I know. And yeah, it just like further proves like what I was already thinking. Like stuff that I completely don't want to deal with, and she's like, you have to deal with it. Like I don't want to. But yeah, definitely like go look her up, go try her out, follow her and everything. The link is in the description over here. And thanks for watching. I hope you drink with me, and we can drink some other time. Oh, also don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at JodyLynn __. Don't forget to subscribe. You hate me? Goodbye.